welcome to a random video of learning to alter a pattern. Now, I did actually have this request. I won't be doing her exact measurements because I don't know them off the top of my head. But this is the main body panel of my hussy case. So there's this particular size is designed to hold a Nintendo Switch. But we're going to alter this pattern so that it's bigger and chunkier and does a whole bunch of stuff. So the first thing we're going to want to do, funnily enough, I'm pretty sure this is in the middle, but about in the middle, you're going to want to cut it open in a straight line. So I'm actually going to cut this. I joined it for a purpose to show you, but ultimately we're going to make it because we want to make it longer. So now we have the opportunity to just pull it apart. And on this particular pattern at least, I have put this foam line is basically your seam allowance. So this will be the finished product. Now the best way to do this is by using a mat with grids, with numbers is even better. So I've got my numbers down here. So I'm going to actually put that against the edge and along here. And let's say we want to make it for, I don't know what's long and skinny, but let's just do it anyway. So I'm going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to tuck it underneath. We're going to put this at, I don't know, let's say 18 inches. So the total of this, because if you read the seam allowance, it's a 1/2 inch. So we take away 1 inch and that will be the total length. So the total length of this will in fact be now 17 inches long. So you just need to add this piece in the middle. Now you can do this, I'm trying to line it all up in a line because it's less cutting, but you can do it however you want. So by adding this piece in here and having it directly on that line, this has now made it a long and skinny one. So I'm just going to now take my tape. Ugh, it always moves when I do this. But you can do this with any pattern. So if you want to make it like 2 inches taller or, you know, wider in the base or whatever. So I have now added, now before we go any further and we chop all this off, you need to know how much you've added. So I have added 7 3/4 inches. Now this is important for the gusset bit later. Now, in a perfect world, we grab a ruler because rulers are obviously easier. And this is my paper cutting rotary tool. And we're just going to cut that off so it's now all one piece. So now we have 7 3/4 inch longer than the original. Now we want to go the other way. So I'm going to again line it up here. And I'm going to cut down the center of this as well. And the reason we do it this way, obviously I've picked an easy pattern piece, but you could do this with literally any, right? If we chop it in the middle, this is where we're going to add some more. Now, again, it will depend on how much more you want to add. I'm going to put that against this line here, and you can just kind of tape it to the table because it will try and move being this long. Right, now it can't shift. Let's say I want to make it that wide. You can literally do anything. Or if you go, okay, I want to make it 2 inches wider. So what you would do is you would tape the middle bit here, like so, and then we would do 1 2 inches wider and then add this like that. And again, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape to tape it in place. And then we just get paper and stick the paper in between. Alright, so put a piece there. And kind of just tack it down in place. We'll need another piece of paper. I have a whole bunch for this. Doesn't matter about this edge because we're taping it over the top. So it actually doesn't matter. As long as we don't cover our number. If you think you might cover the number accidentally because you need to make a lot of adjustments, then I do recommend writing this on something else. So then we've made an extra 2 inches this way. Now to work out the gusset piece, all we need to do is just another thing before we move on to that. To make pattern pieces more stable, I like to sticky tape the back as well. I usually do it along all the seams, but I'm not keeping this. I'm just doing this to make a point. of how to do it. So, to your original gusset, you need to add this number times 2. And the reason for that is because it's on this edge as well as this edge. And then we're going to need to make this one times 2. So, maths. This is where the maths comes in, right? So you've added however much you want. So we need to add 2 times 2, which funnily enough is 2 plus 2 as well. So we need to add 4 inches to the gusset plus this. So 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5. So we go 14, 15.5. So plus 15.5. That adds 2 lots of them. So you need to add 19.5 inches to the original gusset piece that was in the pattern to take it from tiny to huge. Now that would be close to, I don't know how big a keyboard is, but that's kind of roughly what you would do. So you just use your board, and then it's just basic multiplication or simple multiplication or addition. You can just 15 plus 15 or 2 plus 2. It doesn't have to be times 2. Or you can use a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, Google usually does. But that is the basis on making something wider or taller. You just need to make sure that we account for this extra in everywhere you put it. So I hope that helps. And that is basically how you alter a simple pattern. It doesn't even have to be square. Even if it's tapered, what you do is once you add the extra, so let's just say it's tapered at the top. Once you add the extra, you just kind of have to fluff that line because it obviously won't be straight. You'll have to kind of curve it in a little bit, but that is the basis for all altering of patterns. I hope that was somewhat helpful to you guys.